Hi everyone. As you can see, I've just gone through and look, I've started to clean things up a little bit. Like there's a lot of messiness, I guess, or things just weren't labeled. Like you can kind of see how our whole entire workflow has been based upon these inputs, which probably should be grouped and should be written as such. I'm just using Scribble. That'll do. Imports, and they help create a bench surface, which is just a NURBS surface created with a sweep, and then we go through and do some sectioning, and then start to create the 3D strips, create the 3D carcus. Sorry, I should write that in. Cool. And then we create the carcus rail curve creation, and then the carcus geometry extrusion. You can kind of see so far our longest workflow has been to create these supporting rails, and it's going to continue today because what we're going to do now is currently these rails are intersecting our carcus sections, as we're calling them, and what we're going to do is we're going to notch them in. So what we're going to do is we're going to subtract like a box from here across every one of the sections, and then we're going to subtract a little bit from here as well, and the amount that we're going to subtract is about half the width of this carcus rail. So what will happen is all these carcus curves, and we'll split them up. There's no sheet of plywood that's that big, but all these carcus curves should at least start to fit neatly into some notchings that we're going to put in here. Why is that good? Because when you come to stand all these things up, like, you don't want a carpenter to just rely on having to like line it up and nail it in. We're going to be using, ideally using digital fabrication equipment to at least locate everything. So we might, like, all the fixings and all that stuff will still have to be done with a nail gun or whatever, but at least we've gone through a bit of effort to like make everything line up so it's easy. Cool. So the first thing we have to do is start to create some more cutting curves that are sort of based off this rail creation. So what I'm going to want to do is start off by, remember how I said we're going to move it across by 2. So we're going to use this original amount that we offset, and I'm dividing that by 2. And I think I actually want to bring a lot of this down. And what geometry are we offsetting? The same project geometry. Yep. And I think I'm going to do this. So I'm probably going to want to offset it by this new distance. Great, and just to make sure, I'm going to drop an XY plane down. Cool. So half the distance this time. And what I'm going to do now is sort of trim the output of that list. I'm not going to simplify it this time. You just trim that straight down. So you get groups of 2s. And then what we're going to do is actually borrow this workflow directly from above, but we're going to be sorting these curves this time. And because the data trees match up to 2, we're all ready to go, I believe. Oh, except, yeah, still want to reverse that. Great, so that's the first bit done. Let's move on to actually creating some 3D interpretations of it. Okay, so I just want to make everything the right direction. And then we're going to offset them about 100. I'll show you what this is going to be doing in just a minute. But what we have to do is we've set up some kind of cutting curve, a kind of cut base, but we need to cut a little bit more out just so we can hopefully insert our parts a bit easier. And let me just fix a few things up. I actually want to sort these according to this, and there should be, I think, they should be aligned anyway, but just checking. Oh, that's odd. Oh, there we go. They are aligned anyway. Don't need to flip them because we did that in the last video, one of the last videos. Cool. So there's our offset ones, and I think I better simplify that as well. Yep. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to extend all these curves out, positive and negatively, by about 40, I think. Let's plug that in there. Yep, we've got longer, and then now things will start to fall into place and make a lot more sense. And I need to copy. I'll copy this above workflow to offset and move everything because it's essentially the same. Okay, what am I doing? Let's just turn that off in case I do something. I'm moving this loft 9009. Yep. Moving this loft up. Awesome. And I'm extruding it downwards. I think that should work. Oh, I think though I need to work on okay, I just discovered that I've got the problem that everything is offsetting like on the same side. See how it grows to the left of the screen? What should happen is it should be growing on both sides of the screen. And I realized that I did need to use these flip curves after all. So offsetting these flip curves, and also merging these flipped curves as well. So that the whole thing lines up. See that? It's hard to see those top ones because the section's a bit weird. But see how it extends out? So that's because when we come back up here to our creation, here we go. What I'll actually do is we can do the Boolean difference on it now. I need to flatten these, and there are like original extrusions. So that's the load. Cool. It does take a little while, but here we go. So here we've taken out all the cuts, and if we've done this correctly, all apart from that other side there, they'll all be sitting in there pretty nicely. And then what I was doing before is I was subtracting out a little more than the original width, like a bit more. That's just to that is just to account for if there's any like weirdness in the geometry happening like right around here or whatnot, or anything getting in the way. If that curve came down more, it would just like account for it entirely, and it's done. And yeah, we're in a pretty good place now. Like these are all ready to be cut up, as are these, and we can start laying them out for fabrication. Cool. Stick with it.